If you run an RIA, cybersecurity has gone from a nice to have to a core part of your business. Whether you like it or not, that is the future, and it's only going to be more restrictive, more rules, more regulations to make sure your client's data is secure. And in a good way, this helps tremendously. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through what RIA cybersecurity actually means, what the SEC expects, and 5 things that you should focus on first, especially if you're trying to either learn more about cybersecurity or just, hey, I'm not exactly sure where to start. This video is for you. How are you doing? My name is Harrison Barron from Secure Wealth IT. We are an MSP, a managed service provider. It is a fancy term for saying, hey, we're going to help RIAs and financial firms with their compliance and making sure technology headaches don't happen. That way, when you're in a client meeting, you're not sure where you put that file, those things don't come to mind. And, God forbid there's an SEC exam. You don't have to sit there and say, where do we put those files, or what exactly do we need? That is where we come in. If you want to learn more about us, you can head over to securewealthit.com. We have a ton of stuff here, all designed to help you go through, learn, and understand what you need to know for compliance to make your life easier. And we have a bunch of resources. We're constantly adding new resources in here. I will leave a link down to our resources: Redtail versus Wealth Box, how to beat the regulation S&P guidelines, or better yet, what the deadline, I should say, the new tech stacks that you could use for your RIA firm, and a ton of others. And we're constantly adding more. Once again, you could head over to securewealthit.com. So let's talk about RIA cybersecurity and what does it actually mean? Because this is something where we need cybersecurity. We need to be more secure. We want to keep our clients secure. And I get that. That's all good. But let's dive into what it actually means, because you're probably looking for some more information. You're not exactly sure what to understand, what's right, and what are some of these things. So cybersecurity as a whole is not just antivirus, right? Making sure your computers don't get a virus. It's not a firewall, typically a box that's somewhere in your office that you probably have no idea what it does, and it looks like a lot of other pieces of technology. That prevents bad information from even getting into your system, right? And antivirus obviously helps prevent the viruses and removes them if you do get them. It's way more than that. It's the people, it's the processes, and it's the tech you use every single day to protect your client's data. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of several things. It covers things like prevention, making sure things don't actually happen. Detection, if something does happen, we can actually go and understand what's happening. Response, so that way we can respond to it immediately. And then last but not least, recovery, right? Recovery is going to be the 4th kind of pillar, because all of those things, prevention, detection, response, happen, but we have to recover to where we were and understand what actually happened throughout that process. It also covers the flip side of things, where the SEC is quite concerned about, right? Compliance, documentation, vendor oversight are also things. For example, an SEC registered RIA has to have some level of cybersecurity, but unfortunately now it's a core part of running your firm. It's not a second guess or I think we do something like that. It has to be done. And not only does it have to be done, in this video I'm going to be talking about those rules and regulations too, so that way you're not guessing, I don't know what I actually need or what I don't need. And by the way, if you're a brand new firm just starting up, some of those things that I was talking about before, you can go through and grab an incident response plan if something does happen. We have it on our resources page there. And then also, if you're a brand new RIA, talk about what you actually need, the technology list to get things done. We are technology people. It's what we live and die by. It's one of our favorite things to deal with. So let's talk about the rules that actually shape what you need to do. Now, I get it. There are tons of rules. You have the FTC, you have blue sky laws or blue sky rules, you have the SEC. So what do you actually need to know across the board? Now, you need to know a lot, but the core ones that really make a difference is Regulation S&P, which covers written policies and procedures for protecting customer records. You would have never guessed that we also have that as our first thing here, beat the June 3rd deadline for Regulation S&P on our website as well, and I will leave a link down below to that. But you have to have some written policies and procedures, and also people have to know what goes on in there. It can't just be like, we have it, People have to know where it is, how to access it, things to follow and do. You also have Regulation S-ID, which covers, if you guessed identity, you'd be right? Some red flags there. And the 2024 Regulation S&P amendments added incident response, breach notifications, and vendor oversight rules. So who you have to notify, the incident response that's actually going to take place so we know something's going on, how do we handle this problem, and vendor oversights where I get it. Look, we're all working with different vendors. That's really important. Also, the June 3rd, 2026 deadline is coming up for Regulation S&P. That's another one. If you're $1.5 billion in assets or less, something else you need to know. You also have to be aware, and I feel like I'm just laying it on today, but you have to go over and understand the SEC's Division of Examinations also issues cybersecurity risk alerts that point to the gaps they keep finding, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's them talking about, hey, these are the things that we constantly see, and that's a very early indicator of what's to come down the road. So what should you focus on? Because there's a lot. I want to give you some of the areas that you could focus on immediately when you watch this video. What I will ask you to do, though, before I give you those, is if you could hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. And if you enjoy this video or you have questions about this kind of stuff, please leave a comment down below. It helps us out tremendously. I genuinely read them all, and I appreciate every single one. So let's talk about the first area, written policies and incident response plan. This is not a template you can grab off the internet. You can absolutely go grab our guide, right, an incident response plan and a template, but that's it. That's what it is. It's a template. You still have to tweak it and modify it and use it. It's a starting point, right? You can't just go grab a template and say, hey, this is what we're going to be using. It has to be gone through. It needs a real plan with names and who does the work, in what order, when something goes wrong, and has to be tested. That's one of the key things that most people miss. It has to be tested. And according to the regulations, it has to be tested at least once per year. Now, the second area is protecting client data. Obviously, our clients are the most important things. Even in your world, your clients are the most important things. Our world, you guys are the most important things, the people that we need to protect and companies we need to protect. So how do we do that? We need to put MFA on everything. Multi-factor authentication. That stupid little annoying thing that goes, hey, give us the passcode we just texted to your phone, or open up an authenticator app and put in that usual 6-digit number that's refreshing every 30 seconds. They are a pain, but it is single-handedly one of the most important things that you can do. You should absolutely positively have this on your email and your CRM. Your email for your communications and your CRM where all of your client data lives. You also need encryption at rest or in transit, meaning encryption in your office and when it's traveling to somebody else's office. That's a fancy thing, I know, but trust me, it makes sense in our world. Endpoint detection and response, EDR, not just antivirus. Yes, you need antivirus as a bare minimum, but you need to make sure that you have what's called endpoint detection and response, where, hey, we know when something happens and we can respond to it, not just removing a virus from it, because sometimes it can be way worse than a virus. Email security, obviously with multi-factor authentication, and emails are one of the easiest ways that people get into businesses. We see it constantly. Thankfully, it's never our clients, but there is always a news article in our world. And then secure file sharing, right? No client data can go over regular email. It either has to be encrypted from end to end, it has to be shared through a secure folder, however you want to do it, but you can't just send it over an email, or even worse, an @gmail.com account. That's terrible. The third area is vendor risk management. Now, thankfully, a lot of vendors have already gotten on board with Regulation S&P, and they are already compliant with most, if not all, of the rules and regulations. But that doesn't mean every single one is. It just means most. Unfortunately, you are responsible for what your vendors do with client data. I know, it stinks, but vendors need to notify you about a breach within 72 hours of it happening. And you also have to have language that you can actually use in your contracts that say, hey, they are legally required to let us know in 72 hours. Now, once again, most vendors are probably going to update that right off the bat. However, you still have to verify that exists. And then keep a vendor inventory and review it yearly. You have your vendors, points of contact or single points of contact on there, and how to get to support if something does happen, as well as making sure that your agreements are updated. The fourth area is going to be backup, recovery, and business continuity. Now, thankfully, most RIAs have all their data living in the cloud, which in a weird way helps but hurts. You need to make sure that data is backed up. It's tested regularly, especially if you're keeping anything on site, that it's backed up safely. You need a real disaster recovery plan, not just that we have backups. That data has to be backed up somewhere safely and securely and proven that it can be ran as a test to make sure things are happening the right way. I actually have a compliance device in front of me that we provide as an MSP to make sure all the data is backed up, safe and secure if something happens. And I'm not just talking about a hack. Disaster recovery means fires, floods, tornadoes, all of that has to be done. I know it sounds crazy, but God forbid, if I'm going to grab this device here, but God forbid this device was to, hypothetically, go through and be swept up by a tornado. What if it was deposited somewhere else on a field? If somebody got access to that and it's not safe and secure, that'd be terrible. And yes, before you're thinking, Harrison, that's the craziest thing ever. Things like this do happen, right? Or if a building catches on fire and they board it up, somebody breaks in, grabs a couple hard drives, it's not good, right? We don't want that to happen. Also, ransomware proof backups, meaning if somebody takes over your system and they demand Bitcoin at the ungodly price that it is now, do you have it safe and secure? Can they actually get that data? Is it immutable and is it offsite, which are really important things? And then and then you want to make sure that you test each and every side of this. You have your A plan, you have your B plan, and you consistently go through that process. You can't just say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to try one plan, right? My A plan didn't work, or everything goes according to plan all the time until the examiners come. They want to see that you have a full process of what should happen and why it should happen. Especially, hey, A person's not here, boom, we have B person available to handle that type of thing. The fifth area, and last but not least, the one that they are driving home. You absolutely, positively need to make sure that your documentation and record keeping is compliant. 5 years of retention on cyber records is the minimum, with some of them having to be at least 7 years. Even non-events need to be written or wormed over, right? Where it can be written and then read back multiple times without being altered ever, right? The SEC wants paper trails, not just the tools that you use. Now, thankfully, most of the tools that you use have those paper trails, but not all of them. And this is where most firms fail the SEC exam. It's the last thing that you ever want. You never want to have an event happen or a documentation or documents go missing or things aren't being documented correctly. And then you're like, I thought we had it. That's the absolute worst, and they are going to be cracking down on that harder than ever. So before I go, I do want to leave you with some mistakes that I see constantly in the space, right? One is assuming your custodian covers all security. It doesn't. I'm working on more videos coming very soon about what custodians cover what and where they fall short. It's probably less than you think it is, unfortunately. Next is going to be hiring a generic IT company. I know it sounds terrible, but you do need a bit of a specialist. They need to, at least at the bare minimum, know what the SEC is looking for, the rules, and what does an exam actually take. And then also being prepared for that exam. You also have to treat, and one of the things that I see all the time is firms not treating cybersecurity like it's a, hey, you know what, I did it once and it's over and done with. It is a proactive thing. The cybersecurity landscape and the threat landscape, the words that we use in our world, is constantly changing. Hackers are getting smarter. Code is being written, especially with AI now, where it's being a little bit more breachable. The list goes on and on and on. You have to make sure that you have up to date and you're constantly working on your softwares and keeping things patched and updated and making sure these things don't happen. Also, please, please, please train your employees. We see constantly people not know where things are, how to read the forms, how to go through and understand the breach, and they're causing issues with exams. And then last but not least, a true role play. What happens if something happens? The entire team needs to know what happens. You don't need to know it like the back of your hand, but people need to know where the physical documentation is, the process to follow, who to report to, how to handle it, who to call. All of that has to be written down so somebody can grab it. A once a year, hey, let's just run through it, right? You probably have a house You probably have a family. Hopefully, as a former fireman, you have an escape plan. We all meet here. When I was a kid, it was, hey, everybody leaves the house. We all go meet by the mailbox and we wait. Always. That was always, always, always the plan. It's the exact same thing. You have to do it. I don't want to tell you this information, but it is really important that you understand it, you know it, and if you need help, please reach out to us. We're happy to help you in this because it is a chaotic thing. And if you want to grab some of our resources, like the incident response templates that you can go through and grab, it's a pretty long document, I won't lie there, but you can go through, fill it out, and start using it. Or if you want to go through our new RIA technology checklist, and maybe there's some tools and techniques or tricks that you find in there, we would love to have you. Go check them out. I will leave them down in links below or securewealthit.com/resources. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.